Hello everyone, and welcome back to the 10 days of JavaScript. Here we are in day number 6, and in this lesson, we are going to learn about higher order functions. Let's begin with the question, what in the world is a higher order function? So the boring technical definition is a higher order function is a function that either accepts a function as an argument or a function that returns a function as a result. Phew. Okay, so that wasn't helpful at all. Because if you learn the way that I learn, technical answers like that do nothing for me. I need to see examples in order for me to actually learn anything. So this lesson is going to be broken up into 3 parts. First, we will look at an example of a function that accepts a function as an argument. After that, we will create our own brand new higher order function that returns a function as a result. And finally, at the end of the video, we will learn about some of the most useful higher order functions that are part of the core JavaScript language that you would leverage in the real world on a daily basis. Okay, so let's begin up at the top and look at a function that accepts another function as an argument. So believe it or not, we've actually already seen a function that does this. So type this out with me. If we say document.add event listener, and this is a function or method that belongs to the document object, so we include parentheses to run or call the function. And you might remember that it takes 2 arguments. So the first argument is which event you want to be on the lookout for. So we could say quotes click, and then a comma to include another argument. And remember that the second argument is supposed to be a function that you want to run when this event happens. So we could say our amazing function. And then down on a new line, we could create a function with this matching name. So function our amazing function, parentheses, curly brackets. And maybe we just alert a pop-up message that says, thank you for clicking. Okay, now if I check out the preview area of this and click down here, we see the pop-up, thank you for clicking. We've done this before, it's not impressive. The reason I'm showing you this is I want to point out what a higher order function is. We would say that this add event listener method or function is a higher order function because the second argument that it expects to receive is a function. If you've never worked with another programming language before, you might not see what's so special or noteworthy about this. However, in certain programming languages, you are not allowed to pass a function as an argument. You can usually only pass simple values like a string of text or a number. So JavaScript is special in the sense that functions are not considered weird or special entities with their own unique set of rules of where and how they can be used. In JavaScript, a function is just like any other entity or value. To explain what I mean by that, let's jump into our next example. But really quick, back to the definition, right? So a higher order function is a function that accepts a function as an argument and or returns a function as its result. So we just saw an example of the first part of that definition, right? We saw a function that accepts a function as an argument. And now the last part of the definition, a function that returns a function as a result, that is a bit trickier to understand. So right now I'm going to get rid of this code and let's start fresh, and I want you to type this out with me. First, let's begin with a simple function that is not a higher order function. So let's create a function and name it double me, parentheses, curly brackets. And imagine that we want this function to double whatever number you give it and then return that value. So within its parentheses, we can include a parameter, and then inside the body of the function, we could just say return that parameter times 2. Okay, and then below this function, we could test it out. So maybe we could write a sample number out to the web page down here. We could say document.write, and then let's say double me 20. Cool, so down in the preview area, we see that it worked properly, right? We see 40. So the point here is that this double me function is not a higher order function. Clearly, it does not accept a function as an argument. We expect it to receive a number, and it also does not return a function, right? It just returns a simple number. Now, if you're like me, you might be scratching your head and wondering, when would it ever be useful for a function to return a function? Well, let me give you an example. So let's imagine that we also wanted a function named triple me and quadruple me. So we could just copy and paste our double me function, right? And change the name to triple me, and then adjust this to multiply by 3, and then we could paste it again and name this one quadruple me, and change the multiplier to 4. You get the idea. But this code is getting repetitive. Literally, the only thing that's changing is the number that we are multiplying by. So, just like each one of these functions returns or generates a value, what we can do is create a new function that generates or returns one of these multiplier functions. Let me show you what I mean, because it's really confusing until you see it in action. So I'm going to get rid of the triple me and quadruple me functions, and let's create a brand new function. The name doesn't matter, but I'm going to name it create multiplier. Parentheses, curly brackets. In these parentheses, let's give it a parameter. I'm going to say multiplier. Okay, and then in the body of this function, instead of returning a number, we can literally return another function. So function, parentheses, curly brackets. And now let's just pretend that this function is the double me function, but let's make it flexible, right? So within its parentheses, we could include an x as a parameter, right? This would represent whichever number is getting doubled or tripled or quadrupled. And then in the body of this function, we would just return that number times, and then this is where we make it flexible. So instead of doubling it or tripling it or quadrupling it, let's just pull in this parameter, the multiplier parameter. Now don't worry, I do not expect this to make sense yet. Okay, now at this point we can get rid of our double me function. Now check this out. This is where it will start to make a little bit of sense. Down here we can say let double me equal, and then we can just use this create multiplier function to create our double me function. So we can say create multiplier 2, right? And then we could try it again. We could say let triple me equal create multiplier 3, and then let quadruple me equal create multiplier 4. Okay, now before we actually try to use these new double me, triple me, quadruple me functions, let's take a minute to understand what's actually going on here. Because there are two really interesting and potentially confusing things taking place here. So first, our create multiplier function is considered a higher order function because instead of just returning a simple string of text or a number or an array, it's returning a function. Now, that may not seem very special or interesting, but it's noteworthy because in other programming languages, functions are considered special entities with their own weird or unique set of rules governing when and where they can be used. In other programming languages, we might only be allowed to return a simple number or string of text within a function right here. But in JavaScript, a function is an entity just like any other value, which also means that not only can we return a function within a function, but we can also assign a function to a variable like we see down here. So just like in previous lessons, and you do not need to type out this part, just like in previous lessons how we would set let strawberry count equal 20. So just like in the past where we would set a variable to equal a number or a string of text or an array. Well, in JavaScript, we can set a variable to equal a function. And that's exactly what's going on here. Now again, this might not seem super interesting, But it is because we cannot necessarily do this in other programming languages. So the point here is that JavaScript is special in the sense that functions are considered first-class citizens or entities. So we can pass them around as arguments, we can return them inside of a function, and we can even assign them to a variable. And believe it or not, but this makes JavaScript a very flexible and powerful language. Okay, now just to prove to ourselves that this code works, let's test out these double me, triple me, and quadruple me functions. So let's output a sample value down into the preview area down here. So maybe below our code, we can say document.write, and then let's try doubling the number 10. So we can call one of these functions just like we would any other function. We just type out its name, and then a set of parentheses to actually call the function, and then in the parentheses, just give it an argument. So 10, we see that it gets doubled. We could try tripling the number 5, so triple me 5. It helps if I spell triple correctly, but there we see 15. And then we could try out quadruple me really quick, so quadruple me. Awesome, there we see 20. If you're still a little bit confused as to how this is working, we can take double me as an example. So we are creating a variable and saying, let double me equal whatever this create multiplier function returns. And we know that that function returns a function. So then literally the double me variable is going to equal this function that gets returned here. And then we can call it just like any other function. All right, so now that we've covered both halves of the definition of a higher order function, let's move on to the third and final part of this lesson. So I'm going to erase everything we have so far. We began this lesson by looking at an example of a higher order function that the web browser environment offers. And then in the second part of this lesson, we created our own functions. Okay, and now in this third and final part, I want to show you a few higher order functions that are part of the core JavaScript language itself. And actually, some of the most useful ones that you would run into on a daily basis all have to do with arrays. So let's begin by pretending that we have an array. You can type this out with me. I'm going to say let my colors equal, and then square brackets to create the array. And then I'm just going to spell out the first few colors of the rainbow. Okay, so we've got this example array. Now let's imagine that we want to do something once for each item in the array. For example, let's imagine we want to output down onto the preview part of the web page a little bit of text that says, the color red is a great color, and then the color orange is a great color. The color yellow is a great color. Right, so we want to perform this repetitive task and do it once for each item. Well, check this out. In the JavaScript language, let's begin working with our variable, so my colors. In the JavaScript language, all arrays have access to a method named forEach. And just based on its name, you might be able to guess what it does. Within its parentheses, for the argument, we just give it a function. And then it's going to run that function once for each item in the collection. Let me show you how it works. So maybe down on a new line, let's create a brand new function and name it say something nice. The name of the function doesn't matter, that's just what I'm going with. So I've got the name and then parentheses, curly brackets. Okay, now we can spell out what this function should do in just a minute, but on this line, within the parentheses for forEach, let's pass it that function. So say something nice. And now this line of code almost makes sense in plain English. We've got our array of colors and we are saying for each item in that array, say something nice. So now check this out. Down in the actual function definition, within these parentheses we need to create a parameter. So you could just say X, which is easy to type, or we could say color. The name of the parameter doesn't matter. But then down here in the body of the function, let's say document.write, because remember we want to output something down here that says the color blank is a great color. So I'm just going to say quotes, the color, and then a space, and then add on our parameter. So for you, it might be X or whatever you name the parameter. And then add on another string of text, begin with a space, and say, is a great color. Cool. And there we see the color red is a great color, the color orange, the color yellow. If you wanted each one to sit on its own line, it's just a matter of HTML. So right after this period, we could just add a break tag. Perfect. Now this may not seem that impressive, but it's cool because our code is now flexible. Meaning in the future, if we ever added new colors to our array, it's going to automatically display onto the web page. So if we came up here and at the end of the array added on comma green, that's all we need to do, and now we see the color green is a great color. Now the real reason we just learned about this forEach function is to show you that it is a higher order function that is part of the core JavaScript language itself, right? For its argument, it accepts a function. However, indirectly, we also just learned why arrays can be so useful. Once you have items in a collection like this, computers are very skilled at performing a repetitive task or looping through the array and doing something once for each item. So we could just as well imagine that each one of these was an email in your inbox, or a post on Facebook, or a photo post on Instagram. Okay, anyways, that was a quick look at the forEach method. Now, two of the other most useful higher order functions in JavaScript that I leverage on a daily basis also have to do with arrays. And you do not need to type this out, but they are map and filter. I only typed out the name of our array variable here to show you that these are functions or methods that all arrays automatically get access to. Now, we actually are not going to learn about map and filter in this lesson because we've already covered enough new ground and material for one lesson. But we are going to learn about map and filter in our very next lesson. And this is great because these functions are the perfect segue into our next topic. Now, this next topic might seem like a minor detail, but in actuality, it's crucial to understanding JavaScript. It's a concept that might be obvious if you're familiar with another programming language, but I know that personally, in my own experience, I wish that someone would have stressed this concept to me when I was first starting out. And what is that concept? It's the difference between returning a value and mutating a value. So what in the world does that even mean? Well, we're going to learn all about it in our next lesson. So let's keep things rolling, and I will see you then. The 10 Days of JavaScript is the first chapter for my upcoming premium course, Full Stack JavaScript from Scratch. I'm making these first 10 or 11 videos freely available on YouTube, and so for the next 10 days, I'm going to upload one new video each day. So stay tuned, or if you're watching this in the future, all the lessons are up, so feel free to binge watch. The full premium course is not available just yet, but if you subscribe to this channel, you'll be notified as soon as it's out. Or if you're watching this video in the future, it's already available. Enjoy!